Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to Malaika's cooking show. I'm just playing today. Today we're not cooking. Today we're having a Q&A, and I ask you guys on Instagram, if you're not following me, follow me at Malaika_chain. And I asked you guys just to ask me a bunch of questions about cooking, about my channel, about me, just everything you need to know. So let's get right into the video. So to start with, I'm gonna give you some basic information about me. My name is Malaika, of course. I'm 20 years old, I'm in law school, I live in Nairobi, and I'm a home cook basically, and I share my home cooking journey on Instagram and now YouTube, and yeah, that's pretty much the basics of moi. Okay, so the first question is any pet peeves? I have many pet peeves. I don't know. I feel like one, I hate incompetence. Basically, if you have a job, do it well, do it right. I also hate when people will come into a space that you're in and then disrupt it. Like if you come into my room, close the door. The door was closed. Leave the door closed. Also, don't try and cook with me. I know it's all cute and fun games like, ooh, cooking together. It's not. I have a method to my madness, and including another person is just really difficult, you know? So I think those are my pet peeves. Okay, the second question is Nairobi versus Mombasa comparison. Basically, I lived in Mombasa majority of my life. I went to school there, and I had to move here for uni, but Mombasa is very slow paced. Everything is few and far between, so it's not that hard to find what you're looking for. Nairobi, on the other hand, there's an abundance of everything, but everything is kind of far apart from each other because it's a huge town. Mombasa is so chill. Everyone kind of knows everyone. So it's it's an island basically. Nairobi is just a whole different beast. One thing I hate about Nairobi is the traffic. Tell me why yesterday I left school at 1 o'clock. I'm getting home at almost 3 o'clock. Why? The question is the music I vibe to. So if you don't know, on my cooking stories, I usually play music in the background and stuff. So I'm really into Black Pumas, blues, R&B, a little bit of jazz, and Afrobeats. I'm really into Afrobeats, the Burna Boy and the lot of them. I think the music that I'm currently at the moment obsessed with is I have an Afrobeats playlist where it's chill Afrobeats. It's that Nwantiti. I don't know if that's how you say the name, but I'll link it down below. That's currently my favorite song. The next question is, how did you get into your love for food? Basically, during the pandemic, I had to go back home to Mombasa, and I felt that I had reached a point in my life where I was not doing anything. There was no school. I had no projects going on. I was genuinely not doing anything. So I started cooking, and I would cook at 3 in the morning and make the food for the rest of the day for my family. And I guess I started falling back in love with being in the kitchen, cooking, experimenting. And then I met a friend who's actually a chef, and she basically inspired me to be serious about cooking and share it with people, and yeah. Next question is a hard one. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Oh my days, I don't know. I don't know where I see myself next week, let alone in 5 years. But I mean, inshallah, I hope I'm successful. I hope I pass the bar and, you know, I become an advocate of the High Court in Kenya. I hope that I'm happy. I hope I'm happy and healthy, and I'm surrounded by an abundance of love, an abundance of, you know, positivity. And I hope overall my passion for cooking and for, you know, teaching people how to cook, it takes me far. That's all I'm gonna say. Also, I hope I'm on the Food Network. Inshallah, inshallah, inshallah. Okay, where did your passion for food stem from? Basically, I think I've always had a good culture in my family, in my community, around food. Everything is kind of centered around food where I'm from. And my passion for food came when I first started cooking Christmas lunch, basically. We would do a big barbecue with all my family. I mean, nowadays we don't do it anymore, but we used to, and I think that's where it stemmed from, because I knew that like Christmas, it was my time. I would be grilling and cooking, and I think that's when I really fell in love with food. Next question is, what's the hardest thing you've made? Probably oxtails. Now, if you know the story behind me making oxtails, you know that I spent like 8 hours cooking this stuff, right? And when I tasted it, I didn't like it. But the video, the reel that I made for oxtails has like 15K views, and I was basically showing people that like I'm very honest and transparent about cooking and my failures and my successes, especially when it comes to making more fancier, different dishes. So that was something very interesting, that people actually enjoyed the fact that I told them that like, hey, I made this thing and I spent like 8 hours cooking this thing and I didn't like it. So yeah, I think oxtails was the hardest thing I made. That and probably bread. I don't know if you guys know this, but making bread is it's hard. Especially if you don't have an oven, like a really good oven and all the fancy equipment. It's labor intensive, and it cannot work out well. There's a time I spent like 4.5 hours making bread, and the dough was raw in the middle, but everything else was cooked. So yeah. So what's the one thing you haven't gotten the hang of making? What's the one thing I haven't gotten the hang of making? Currently, at this moment, I am fighting for my life when it comes to making naan. I want a very specific type of naan. I want the naan that really puffs up, and it's like, I don't know if my yeast is dead or if I'm just not putting in enough yeast, or it's just not rising long enough. I don't know. But basically, the type of naan that I want to make, the type of naan that I want to eat, I have not yet perfected the art of making it. Okay. Next question is, how do you balance uni and content creating? I don't. To be honest with you, I don't balance it well at all. And that's why this week, if you follow me on Instagram and stuff, you know that like I have hardly been posting. I haven't done a cooking thing because I can't sit here and lie to you and tell you guys that, oh, I've balanced it. I just do this, and this. No. But I do try to organize myself in the best way possible, but most of my cooking is very spontaneous. It's based on like what I want to eat that day, what I'm craving. So I don't have a good balance, and I'm working on it. I'm a work in progress. But the thing I can say is that you really need to decide what is your priority, whether it's content creating or whether it's school. At this very moment, I cannot answer that question, but I think that I try to put myself and my level best in everything that I do, whether it's school or creating content for you guys. The next question is this what you've always wanted to do? I I don't know actually. This is something that I never saw myself doing, and it's something that I at first was just doing it because I thought it would be fun and interesting, and now I'm kind of slowly starting to create a space for myself and make it a full-time, almost career-like thing. But this is not what I always wanted to do. If you ask anybody who knew me when I was younger, I always said I'm gonna be a lawyer, I'm gonna work in the ICC, I'm gonna change the world, basically. I've always had like really big, really unrealistic dreams, but this is not what I've always wanted to do, but I'm loving it. I'm loving not knowing what the future holds for me and not being like overthinking and planning everything out and just going with the flow, one step at a time, one day at a time. So yeah, someone asked me, what is your favorite thing to make? My favorite thing to make is tacos. I love tacos. I have an addiction, I have a problem. I can make tacos every single day of the week. I watched, there's a documentary on Netflix, I'll link it down below, but basically it's about different types of tacos in different regions of Mexico, and the next season I think there are like 2 seasons, and it's not just limited to Mexico, it's a lot of South American countries and different types of tacos. And now because I don't eat pork, that's kind of one of the issues I had with kind of trying to make the most authentic version of the tacos. But yeah, my favorite thing to make in this whole wide world is tacos. I can eat them every day for the rest of my life without fail. The last question is, how do you come up with your recipes? So there is very few things that are original creations of mine or I can take credit for. Most of the time, I decide what I'm in the mood for, what I feel like I want to try out. So if it's something like what I recently made, like pickles, let me show you guys an example. I have a love for pickled jalapenos, and I decided that why not try making pickled peppers and onions, because my dad brought some and I had a lot of excess. So I was like, okay, I want pickles and I want them to be pickled peppers and onions. So I Googled a recipe and I decided to kind of tweak the recipe a little bit because I know what I like and I know what I want it to taste like. And that's usually how I decide. So either it's I want something specific and I'll go look for a recipe and then, kind of make it my own. Or I've eaten something somewhere in a restaurant from my childhood, something that I grew up eating a lot, something like biryani and pilau. My recipes are not like 100% original, but it's about how I make it and how I can make it easy for you to make it. Okay guys, that's it. That's the end of the video. I hope you got to know a little bit more about moi and just, my journey, my experiences, who I am, and I really enjoy sharing myself with the internet. It's a very interesting thing, but every day brings new challenges, new adventures, new experiences. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. If you aren't subscribed, I don't know what you're doing with your life. I'm just playing. Like, comment, share, and just, tell me, what do you want to see next? Tell me down below and comment for engagement. So thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you next Sunday.